It's coming. Good morning. Good afternoon.
It's now 12:01.
Noon. Yeah. Hold on one second. I have to close this because that is bothering me. Okay. Well, happy Tuesday, everybody.
It's Tuesday.
How's everybody's day going?
It's good. So far, so good over here.
Good.
Oh.
Good. Well, as usual, Kayla McDonald with Remax Alliance Group and Miss Lindsay Weber with Keystone Mortgage Solutions.
Hello, hello.
And we have Miss Amanda, and I should have asked you this before we got on. It's
Arancio. Yeah.
Arancio. Okay. I'm pretty sure I said it right about the last time, but I'm like, oh, I'm second guessing myself. And you're with Arancio Movement Labs. You are the owner.
I am.
And I believe it's just you right now, right?
It's just me. I'm a solo show right now, ladies.
Which is great because
Fine by me.
you got big shoes to fill.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen you in a couple months, and I need to schedule an appointment with you.
Yes, I miss you on the table.
Yeah. So, and I know that I asked you all these questions, last time I saw you, how you got into what you're doing and what exactly is everything that you provide. I know that you have a lot of stuff and you are very, very, very well educated in what you do. And I feel like you are just very magical.
Thank you so much. No, Arancio Movement Lab is the bread and butter of the business, and the best way I can explain it is a deep tissue massage and sports massage therapy studio. So those are kind of the umbrella terms, but just like you said, there's a lot that falls underneath that as far as soft tissue assisted stretching, trigger point therapy. I would say that it's actually kind of difficult to pinpoint exactly like a nice, pretty, and neat description of what it is, because every experience is going to be tailored to each client that comes in, from your weekend warrior who just kind of gets in the gym, moderately active lifestyle, to your hardcore athlete that does plenty more, more of like a 5 or 6 day a week schedule. So I got into all of this through weightlifting. Weightlifting is my sport. I had a journey doing Olympic style weightlifting. So the clean and jerk, the snatch, deadlifts, which of course, when you're clocking that many gym hours and doing that rigorous training to be able to do that, you kind of just get used to hearing about people's aches and pains, injuries, soreness, maybe some issues with flexibility and range of motion. So I would say that the career actually found me.
Isn't it funny how it happens like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think a common misconception is like when you're like you said, in that mode and you train so rigorously, I think sometimes you think that that's just how you're supposed to feel all the time.
For sure.
And like if you have like an injury or the soreness or the range of motion issues, like it's just like, oh well, this is the life I chose to live and I just have to deal with it.
Absolutely. And I would have to say that one of the best parts of the job is almost like that learning curve of explaining to a client these symptoms or ailments that they may be experiencing might not necessarily be due to an aging process. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm 40 now, so it's all downhill from there. And
Yeah.
could be true in some ways. But after massage brings on a totally different world of how much better you could feel, and you just don't know it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about this when I met you, because everybody's so different with what they like or can tolerate
Mhm.
when it comes to massages. Like some people are like not really into deep tissue or like that pressure.
Mhm.
And like for me, I'm like, just do your thing and do what's going to
Yeah.
for me. And like, I mean, I kind of enjoy the torture a little bit. Well, I really enjoy the outcome too, like the aftermath of what, the benefits of what it does to your body.
Of course, and as we discussed the first time, every deep tissue is such a general term because deep is subjective, right? Like
Mhm.
your deep is different from my deep, which may be different from Lindsay's deep. So it's this huge spectrum where each client could fall in a different place. So that's the importance really of really customizing a session to each person that's on the table. The best way that I can compare it is since your nervous system during a massage is highly at play. If you're in pain, not like the pain where you can kind of push through it to get the result that we need to get, but
Mhm.
if you're in a level 10 pain for too long, your body will go into fight or flight mode.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of taking the treatment as a healing therapeutic process, your body can actually resist the treatment or the work that's being done, which is why it's essential to really pay attention to your clients' cues. So, whether or not they start guarding, kind of locking up a little bit, kind of
Mhm.
away from what you're doing. Sometimes people will hold their breath. Sometimes they'll breathe faster or, just kind of start to get a little chattier as it distracts them from the pain. So there's different cues and different ways to kind of pick up on how your client is tolerating the treatment, and to just kind of really play along, so that the body takes it as therapeutically as possible.
Yeah. I know that I think you probably asked me if I was breathing at one point.
Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
breathing? I'm like, oh no, actually.
Yes, right. And I'm guilty of doing the same thing because it's a natural pain reaction. But the reason why that the power of breath is so strong is because your muscles love oxygen. They love
Mhm.
fresh blood flow. They love oxygen. So those deeper breaths while we're working right on top of something, maybe using a heavier, deeper pressure actually helps the muscle to release faster.
I never thought of it that way, but that makes
Yeah.
sense. So you have a studio that you operate out of in Lutz, right?
I do.
But you also travel.
I do. I find myself in many different places during the week, it feels. As you already know, I do a weekly pop-up at BCMF Gym in Trinity,
Mhm.
to provide these wellness recovery services to the members. I also do mobile massage, to provide that convenience of self-care to many in the greater Tampa area, North Tampa area. I also work at the Department of Athletic Medicine, the athletic training facility at the University of South Florida, working with those athletes, and exclusively with women's basketball. So, several places during the week, but same services provided across the board.
I mean, I feel like that makes it exciting, because you're not
Yes,
going to the same place every single day. Not that that wouldn't be exciting too,
sure.
but
Yeah.
it's always nice when you have like a different change of scenery. And I don't know, I just feel like you meet so many more people when you're, out
Absolutely.
and operating in just different areas and houses and businesses.
Of course. And I find that the different environments where you are doing a session can play so much more into the energy during a session, if you will. Um,
Mhm.
for example, when we're doing like a mobile session, let's say we pop up at somebody's house, to do the treatment, you can get so much momentum out of a session and the healing process when somebody's in their own surroundings, because they're much more at ease, they're much more comfortable, they're more calm. It's an environment that they're so comfortable and familiar with. It's easier for them to relax. The more relaxed that your body is, the more healing can occur. So that's fantastic. And on the other end of the spectrum, let's say when we're at BCMF, or, we're working with the athletes at USF, it's such a high energy environment where the client is excited to be there. They're excited for that result. They are much more likely to push themselves further during a session, to achieve a more positive outcome. So it's from both ends, again, opposite spectrum here, but same ultimate result at the end, which is great.
So on top of the massages, you don't just do massage. You do cupping is a big thing, and I think muscle scraping as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a big advocate of the tools. Essentially, whatever helps me helps you is what we're going to do at the end of the day. So, of course, again, to client preference, some people love all the tools, and some people just kind of prefer that more hands-on approach. The sports cupping, and the muscle scraping, we do a lot of that during your typical sports massage. We do a lot of that with the athletes. So those add-ons are always complimentary in any of my sessions, because I feel as if something that helps me help the client feel better, there shouldn't be an extra charge. You know what I mean? Like it should just be like a comprehensive, package that's offered to everybody. So we do love the tools over here at the lab, absolutely. And I keep everything with me, either on the road or in the room, so we can do any of those anytime.
Is there anything else that you do, like, or utilize or suggest for athletes, depending on whatever their scenario is? Like, I know that they have like those like massage, like pressure gun things. And then, is there like other recovery things that you not offer, but suggest to your clients?
Absolutely.
Like saunas and, plunge tanks and
Yes.
red light and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I love to do contrast therapy. Contrast therapy is the practice on an acute injury, like maybe a sprain, nothing serious like a break or something, or a fracture or anything like that, but a mild sprain, aches, pain, soreness, that type of thing. And just as the name suggests, you're using heat and coldness, alternating those back and forth for a period of time, to provide relief. And the idea behind the contrast therapy, and this is something you can do at home with a warm towel and a bag of ice. So super simple. I have different tools in the room with me during a session, such as like hot stones, also some hot towels and a cold roller and things like that to get it done. But the cold therapy helps to take away that pain and inflammation. And the heat vasodilates the muscle fibers to promote that fresh blood flow to the area. So it's kind of like two birds with one stone with that treatment. So definitely recommend that for at-home care. Also here in the studio, I am very partial to the red light. Also, I do have one in the room with me also, and the red light therapy is fantastic for overall muscle recovery. Just also helps to stimulate that collagen layer underneath the skin and the muscle tissue, just for muscle repair, that regeneration that needs to occur. We also do lots of assisted stretching, PNF stretching here. Trigger point therapy is a big one, and trigger point therapy isn't something specific that I offer as a completely separate service. That's something that we're just going to do as the session goes on, and as we find those knots, those hypersensitive knots, that could be referring pain into other areas. Um, Home care that I always advise, a good foam roller. You can find them anywhere, maybe like $10 at Walmart, maybe,
Mhm.
Target. Think of the foam roller as just a nice big rolling pin for all of your larger muscle groups on your body. Um, those who live a more active lifestyle, you always want to, roll on that little fella before you go to bed. It's the same concept as me kneading things out of your muscles. You want to use the foam roller for that. Massage guns, always love a good massage gun. That percussive movement is really good to break up dense muscle tissue. So I feel as if in 2025, it's like there's so many fun tools to
Mhm.
utilize for stuff like this. But yeah, all of them are great.
You're like, thumbs up to all of them.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that all these things are becoming more and more affordable too, just because they're becoming more and more popular. As I think that the fitness world, it's
Mhm.
constantly evolving, um, and I think that over the last couple of years, the recovery aspect has been like a major shift in importance, to recovering and supplementing your body with, like you said, like stretches and massages and all these other extra tools. Whereas, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, it wasn't, or it wasn't as like prevalent. At least I don't think.
Sure, absolutely. And, to your point, I think that in more recent years, a lot of people are starting to understand that the recovery phase of your workout is just as important as the actual workout itself.
Mhm.
The recovery phase is when your tissues are healing, and basically the same concept as after you work out really hard. That
Mhm.
soreness that you experience is your muscle bringing itself down to come back even stronger. So the recovery process is assisting in that
Mhm.
whole concept. And there's a conversation that I often have with a lot of my hardcore athletes, the ones that are in the gym, 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. Whenever they feel as if they've hit a plateau, or they're experiencing the point in their training where results are kind of flatlining, like they're not moving in one direction, forward and backward. I always ask
Mhm.
them, how many rest days are you taking? What does your recovery process at home look like? And a lot of them will say, I work out 6 days a week, maybe seven, maybe the seventh day is an active rest day. So I tell them, try this. Take a week off. Take 3, 4 days off. Don't do anything. Lightly stretch, go for a swim, go for a walk, things of that nature.
Mhm.
Take that week off, let your body repair itself, and then go back and try to hit a few PRs. Go back and try to do a heavy lift day, or, whatever your sport may be. A lot of the time, I would say 8 out of 10 times, the athlete comes back and says, I have no idea what happened, but I lifted way heavier. I hit a new PR. I ran faster. I did, whatever it may be. And it's because they actually allowed their body the time to rest and recover so it could come back stronger. So there's a huge piece to the recovery process that's going to boost everybody's overall performance.
Yeah, and I think that, just from being, in the workout scene and, you know, basically an athlete since, high school, I've gone through multiple different phases of how I exercise and everything myself. And, I used to be one of those people that would work out 6 or 7 days a week, and my life just revolved around it.
Mhm.
Now just going through just aging and different life changes and whatnot, I think that, I feel better when I take a couple days a week to actually rest and not feel like I have to go to the gym. And I don't know. I just feel like you work out better if you take a little bit more time to rest. But on the offhand, when you have athletes that are in college, that's a different story.
Right.
You know, and that's why they need you in their lives.
Absolutely. And it's so great to see schools at the university level utilizing this service for their athletes, because this again is a more recent thing. It's not something that was always offered. The athletes are kind of expected to be at top performance and giving their all in season, of course, but then they're being beat up in the off season during conditioning. So these poor kids, it's a full-time job for them. So to kind of see them being able to take advantage of this service is great. And I think that it'll just get better and better as, wellness is kind of evolving in our society, for sure.
Yeah. So, Lindsay, I feel like me and Amanda have been just like chatting back and forth, and you haven't had a chance to speak.
That's okay. And we're usually like on the same page anyway. And most of the questions that I had, you were already asking. So, like I said, I'm just listening. It's great. There was one thing of course, I went onto your website when I was, I don't know, just figuring out what you did. And you're known as the body mechanic. You're the fixer of the body.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting. Was that something that you did yourself, or that you just got named over time?
So that actually was given to me in the chiropractic setting, which is where I started my massage career. I jumped right into medical massage pretty much right away. I knew that was going to be where I would take the most interest, of course, because of the background in athletics and what have you. So, dealing with car accident patients, people with chronic pain, lots of different sports related injuries. And then your more typical ones, such as like frozen shoulder, tennis elbow, TMJ, things of that nature. It's all volume at the chiropractic offices. You see up to 6 or 7 patients in a day. So when you're first starting out as a new therapist, it's a great way to kind of get your reps in. To get exposed to as many different cases as you can. So being in a high volume chiropractic office for several years, I was exposed to a lot. So needless to say, I got pretty good at, figuring out how to solve people's chronic pain issues and soft tissue injuries and what have you. So it started to be a thing around the office, like the body mechanic, along with human MRI machine. I get that a lot as well. Yes, that one's a good one too. So it's such a craft, to be able to help people live a pain-free life, a limitation-free life. Because as we all know, we've all suffered pain multiple times, in our lives, whether it be a more serious injury or just kind of the underlying nagging stuff that always comes back or sits around as a result of repetitive movements that we do every day. So, pain is something that can really take over your life. It can start to become something that takes away the things you love to do, your favorite pastimes, your sports, maybe it's personal, your ability to play with your kids, your grandkids. It'll start to become something that it's all you think about, or it becomes very distracting throughout your day. So being able to help people solve these issues so that they can enjoy life and have a better quality of life is huge.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. I think both Kayla and I have reoccurring, and if I don't go and see a massage therapist, then it takes a lot longer to heal. But if I'm consistent with it, then
absolutely,
that's the most helpful way, is just to keep up with it consistently.
Absolutely.
So
And it hurts a lot less
yeah,
whenever you go in.
You don't get as beat up.
right.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
It's just like with anything, like you get into the good habit and you are on track, and then something happens and you like miss one appointment, and then like 6 months go by and you're like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I totally forgot that I used to do this.
Absolutely.
And you're like,
Yeah.
this is why I'm in so much pain. And
Mhm.
You feel better. You're like,
100%.
I need to go. I feel great. And then it comes back and you're like, oh, I should have just kept going. And,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's easy to get knocked off of, wellness routines. Life is crazy, family life, work life, kids, all that type of stuff. So that's the reason why I do in studio and mobile also. Because just like Maria, for example, at BCMF, before I started doing pop ups there, she was just a regular client of mine.
Yeah.
We got in touch with each other, and she, Kayla, she spends like 12 hours a day in that place. So she's like, it's so hard for me to book a session somewhere
and make it.
sit in traffic, go there, do it, come all the way back. By the time she gets back from a massage, like 400 things have happened, right?
Yeah.
So she basically was saying, if I know it's just gonna show up, then I can just walk in there with you, get the work done, and then just, go about my day. So to that exact idea, that's why I started offering mobile. I do strongly believe that massage is healthcare, right? So I also like to keep in mind those clients who there may be a health related reason why it's hard for them to leave the house. That could be physical, that could be emotional. And again, maybe those people who work from home, for example, their office, is their office at home or their dining room or their living room or what have you. It's easy for them to still receive their treatment by taking a 1 hour lunch break. I pop up, we do the work, I leave, they go about their work days. So it's just being able to provide that convenience to people so that they have the option to maintain their wellness routines instead of getting knocked off, because things get crazy, right?
They certainly do. Yeah, like you said, work, family, and then all the other things in between, like life doing its life.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are almost to the end, and I had a question. So it's January, this time of year, everybody is gung ho back into getting on a routine and fitness, or just starting. Do you have any advice for somebody that's just getting back into the gym or just starting up? Whether it's coming to see you or certain things that they can do to maybe help prevent injury.
Absolutely. As far as somebody who maybe is brand new or just getting back into it, and you're in the trenches, right? Like you have started your first week of workouts, you're sore, you're tired of getting up early. It feels like a shock to your system. Incorporating something like a heavy workout, or life is so busy, right? So how can I add one more thing into it? One more thing to make the day longer. So anybody that's kind of struggling through that little hurdle, to stay on it and to keep going, just remember that you're not working out for your right now body. You're working out for your 70-year-old body, your 80-year-old body. My personal goal, I mean, of course, it's nice to look nice and be fit and be able to keep up with life and not feel like, the daily stuff that we normally do beats you up. But I want to be able to get down on the floor with my grandkids, my great grandkids. I want to be able to live unassisted, on my own independently for as long as I can. So, for anybody who's kind of getting through that mental hurdle of how to keep consistent with their workouts and their wellness routines, that's what I would say. As far as the stuff to kind of bounce back physically, recovery stuff at home you can do. hydrate, guys. Your muscles are 75% water. When you're dehydrated or you're not consuming enough water, your muscles are quite literally screaming at you, which is how all of those metabolic wastes and lactic acid just get stuck in there. There's not enough water to flush it all out. That will also help you combat soreness. Please stretch, you guys. I got to get to my shout out to my BCMF peeps. We got to stretch, you guys. And Epsom salt baths, I swear by those too.
So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, maybe to do like a consultation or they want to book a massage, what is the best way for them to do that?
I am very responsive on socials. Again, since I'm a one-man show, I don't have anybody doing my scheduling, which is why I have utilized an online booking feature on the website. You can go right online to the website, click check availability, and it'll show you all the available appointments. I believe I have it set to up to 3 months in advance. If
wow.
you don't see a time that you need, please reach out and let me know. I live very close to the studio here, so I'm able to offer later nights, weekends, and earlier mornings for those that are, really need the flexibility to get in. You can also text the phone number that's scrolling around on the bottom there. It is the business line, but I do receive text messages to it also, so I will get back to you as soon as possible.
So almost every single way then, basically.
Yes. And I am a little less responsive to phone calls because when I'm in a session, of course, which is for long periods of the day, my phone is on do not disturb. So any way that I can just quickly get back with a message or a text is generally best.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You are, like I said in the beginning, you are a plethora of knowledge, and
Yes.
I always love listening to you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was fun. I loved it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys.
I'm gonna go and find a spot because I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait.
Log on and schedule.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and coming on with us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, ladies. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.